The general game plan for Stegodon Death Knight is that in the early game, we're going to be playing minions, fighting for the board, potentially drawing cards, and really just generating corpses. As the game goes on, we're going to look to lean more into the Bone Chill Stegodon, with the Death Rattle deals 6 damage to 3 random enemies. That includes our opponent's face. And then in the very late game, we might be looking for potential Wakener of Souls, which will summon additional Bone Chill Stegodons, and empower our Endbringer Umbra to give us a very, very powerful potential swing turn or kill turn late into the game. One mistake that's really, really easy to make with this deck, Crypt Map and Scarab Keychain can both discover Death Rattle minions. You want to make sure that you don't actually take those, and definitely don't want to play them. The reason why is if those Death Rattle minions die, they are then going to be in the Wakener of Souls and also the Endbringer Umbra, so you can really ruin the late game potential of the deck. If, for example, you discover a Thalnos, play it, and then it dies on the board, that Death Rattle could be repeated by Endbringer Umbra, or Thalnos itself could even be resummoned by Wakener of Souls. So you really want to stay away from Death Rattle minion discovers, and if you would so choose to replace some of the cards in this deck, you definitely want to stay away from Death Rattle minions. We're up against Paladin here. I think I would likely expect this to be Aggro Paladin. General mulligan for the deck would be Scarab Keychain. We're always going to keep Elise. I think Rainbow Seamstress is probably also a very fine keep. In this particular matchup, you could also potentially keep Frost Strike. If you're expecting aggro and you need to be able to remove minions on the board early, just to try to stay alive, I think Frost Strike could be a good option there. And we'll definitely be looking to see a little bit more details about exactly what deck our opponent is playing. Could also be Drunk Paladin, potentially. So here we see one of the immediate pitfalls that I was talking about in the deck. You never want to take a Death Rattle minion, because it goes in the Wakener of Souls and the Endbringer Umbra. So that gets us down to Cult Neophyte and the Noyatron. I feel like the Neophyte probably has a little bit more use. It's looking like we're just going to play this on turn 2 in this particular situation. If it's Aggro Paladin, we may not get very much use at all out of it. And it does look like it is, in fact, going to be just this Aggro Paladin, which is not great. So the Aggro Paladin plays the 2-mana card that buffs tribal minions. So they have an elemental and an undead, but we can't actually kill them. They're also not going to be playing a spell, so I think we could consider actually like Hero Power Trade, but it's not great. So I'm just going to go ahead and get down the 3-2 here and go ahead and take the trade.
The exit is this way.
See the Maze God come out. They don't play any locations, so that's not going to get a whole lot of value for him here. Now at this point, Slippery Slope is interesting. I probably just play the Rusher and try to remove a minion type from the board. It's going to spend mana. If our opponent doesn't kill it, we would have these on turn 4 to be able to hopefully kill off some stuff and give this Reborn. So we're going to go ahead and get that down. I'm going to kill off the 1-2 here. Kill off the tribal minion with the most health while we can. Value trades.
One more coat of paint should do the trick.
We now see that our opponent has definitely drawn the Crusader aura, and they're making trades. And we hit Horn of Winter, but we can't really utilize it all that well, so I'm going to get down to Bone Chiller, depending on what we draw. And we are going to freeze. I guess it doesn't really matter. This is a Drane, so in case they don't play the Crusader aura, I'm going to freeze the tribal minion here. And we hit Rainbow Seamstress. It's not really going to do us any good to play the Horn of Winter here, so I'm just going to pass turn back to my opponent. Important note, with this particular deck, we don't have any Blood Runes, so there is no lifesteal. It's just Rush and Reborn on this. But that's potentially good for clearing minions on the board and generating corpses. I think it's probably a misplay for our opponent. There's the buff minion. That's really good for him. This is a premium top deck for us, though. So the question is, how do we do this correctly? This probably kills this. I'll be able to play both of these. I think I need to take this trade first. Because I don't want the 1 damage to be able to hit this. So I'm going to do this first. Play the Reborn guy. We'll go Horn. And unfortunately we did hit face there. And then we're going to play our 3/3. But we're going to be able to take some a value trade with this guy, which is going to be good. And again, we want to kill the tribal minion here just in case they have the other one of that little 1/2 buffer. The Tortolan Storyteller here. So now they go Crusader Aura. We get another Horn of Winter, which we're going to use. So here, we can actually go Maladar Stegodon just to be able to get the... Oh! We win! Up against Hunter this game, it's likely to be either hand buff Hunter or aggro. I think I'm going to mulligan as if it's aggro. I really don't know. But against aggro, I'm going to keep the actual Death Chiller and the Frost Strike. The Hunter's going to have like a lot of 1 health minions potentially. The Death Chiller, this could be useful. Frost Strike on 2. Maybe coin this out on 1. Frost Strike on 2 to remove a minion, deal a little damage. We'll see how it goes here. This mulligan specifically is for aggro, though. I think typically you don't ever want to keep the Death Chiller. And with the Scarab Keychain in hand, I believe we're probably just playing this on 1. So against an aggro deck, I think it's perfectly reasonable to spend your corpses on getting down the Pterodax. If you're in a slower matchup, you're probably going to want to save your corpses for a Maladar play of like one of your higher cost minions. Kind of be able to cheat them out earlier. And our opponent passes. So I think we're fine to just do this. We could still coin out the Death Chiller. But if we save the coin, that's another thing that can proc here. If we think it's hand buff, Doomsayer could actually be perfectly fine. They cannot remove this unless they had like Death Roll on 5 mana. Mauler isn't bad. This is a higher attack. I think Mauler probably has the most upside here because you do tend to draw a decent amount of cards with this deck. So I'm going to take the Mauler. It really came down to the Mauler or the Doomsayer. If it does look like they're actually hand buff, I'm going to wish I had that Doomsayer. Because you can kind of play it into their turn. And we see here that it's actually going to be... I don't know, they may actually play this. It's not going to change our turn all that much, though. We're just going to get down the Moonstone Mauler. I don't know if they play this in Hand Buff Hunter or not. I haven't looked at the list recently, but this makes me think that it is that aggro Beast Hunter. We're going to want to keep the board as clear as possible because of like Supreme Dinomancy, the City Chief. They have a lot of ways to be able to buff their board. I think they run Ziliax, and then also with the Animal Companions, they have the potential to be able to do some things. We got the High Cultist, would sure love to be able to cheat that out. Probably not going to happen. It's pretty likely that our opponent's turn 4 play is going to be the RC Rampage and then click the location. I don't know that there's really anything that we can do about that. We're just going to play our cards here. If they play the Rampage and click the location, it likely clears our board. And then we're going to be looking to make our Death Chiller play to clean up the 1/1s. So fortunately, if they do that, it's just 6 1/1s and then the 6 damage coming off of this. So maybe one minion survives, but we should be able to remove quite a bit of stuff with the different options that we have in our hand here. Ideally, I would probably like to save the coin for a High Cultist on turn 7. But I may have to use it depending on what our opponent does here. So that's just kind of how I'm thinking about future turns in the game. Ideally, I would really like to save this to get the Cultist down on 7. But we're going to have to react to what our opponent does with the board here. Whack! So this is a good play for our opponent, but we also have some pretty strong plays here. We're going to actually be able to remove both of these, and I think the longer this game goes, the better off we're going to be. So I'm going to go Death Chiller first. And then I'm going to get my mana back. We'll get the Reborn on this, see where the hits go. So I'm going to hit here. I'm going to hit here. And then I'm going to Frost Strike. And that'll get Reborn on the 4-1. And again, you can see here, I want to avoid the Eliza. It is powerful, but I don't want the Death Rattle minion. It comes down to Corpse Sickle or Marrow Manipulator. I'm going to take the Manipulator, but I may never actually play it. And I'm going to go ahead and just freeze my opponent's face here as well.
I never make two trips.
So we see our opponent here is getting down the Bellhop. Kind of hate to see that we're drawing this. Pterodax is going to be good here. I can actually make use of the Pterodax. So I'm going to go ahead and make these trades. Trade off both of these guys. And I'm just going to go ahead and play the Pterodax. Other option would be to coin out the Marrow Manipulator. I could actually do both. I would give up the coin, but I can play the Pterodax, play this just as a 5/5 for tempo. I think that's probably the right play. We're not going to have any corpses left for the Marrow Manipulator. We're also going to be looking for a top deck, but anything that we draw should be playable. I think I just want to set up the most powerful board that I can right now for this particular game. So that's what we'll do. Most of the time you don't see this really as a way to be able to win with this particular deck, simply because you're more reliant on the Bone Chill Stegodon to be able to kill our opponent. But with our hand, this opponent, this board state, this game, I think this is going to be the correct way to be able to play here. And I guess that's a death roll, but that'll be our opponent's entire turn. So again, the longer the game goes, I think the better off we're going to be here in terms of being able to win this game. And the Rainbow Seamstress is actually going to clear the board, and we'll be able to push damage face. Excellent top deck. And we're going to kill off the other one simply because it's immune while attacking. We don't want our opponent to be able to take value trades. So we do not want to top deck. I guess one Bone Chill Stegodon is good. We don't want to top deck Death Rattle minions on the next 2 turns. And then we should be more than fine. We can remove one of these. And we can freeze the other one. So we'll start with the freeze. Another Rainbow Seamstress. We'll do that. We'll do this. Do hero power. We'll go ahead and hit here. It doesn't really matter. And I think we actually just save the 4/3. No reason really to take that trade because it's not going to kill it. Next turn, we're going to get down High Cultist Heron. Really don't want to draw second Wakener of Souls here. Pretty much if we don't draw the Wakener of Souls, this should just be a win. They are making a very, very big minion. But it's just Gilly, which isn't great. And we're just going to jam the Heron. And we hit the perfect combo here. And we're going to push face. And so pretty much our opponent is lost. I don't think they can win from this position anymore. So this is only one individual game, but it does feel like this matchup isn't that bad unless your opponent can get out something really, really big early. I do think our opponent played it well. You don't necessarily want to hold minions in hand to get these overwhelmingly sized buffs. Pretty pleased with how we played into the hand buff hunter here. This is supposedly one of the stronger decks in the meta. And you can see that our opponent is actually just conceding here. So we're going to be happy to take that win, and we will be on to the next. Up against Demon Hunter. Hopefully this is not Starship Demon Hunter, because I feel like this would probably be a bad matchup. So I'm going to look for Keychain, Elise. Don't think I want any of these. Unless it does turn out to be some type of aggro. The Keychain, that's nice. Freeze face, potentially nice. So we get the Keychain down again. We want to avoid Death Rattle minions. And just based on the hand that I have, I think I actually just want the Creature of Madness here. I might be looking for something to actually do. Don't know. I mean, these have more attack and more health. I'm just going to go with the creature here, though. Assuming that it is going to be a Starship Death Knight, we're probably going to be looking for some additional value. And we actually see here that this is not Starship, which is probably not good. I have the Stuffy for next turn. I mean, I could just Death Chiller. I could freeze the minion, probably freeze the minion in case they played like the Stealth Totem. It'd save us the most damage. Freeze the minion, discover a Frost spell, hopefully hit something cheap so that next turn I could have a Death Chiller play. And especially if I could have like a Horn of Winter. If I play the Death Chiller, it likely just dies. So I think I like this play. We're going to lose a little bit of value here, but I feel like this is the correct play for the situation that we're in. And again, I don't want to take the Death Rattle minion. There's an argument that you could take it just to try to hit a Horn of Winter or a Frost Strike in this matchup, because it's probably not going to go into Wakener of Souls and Endbringer Umbra, so it might end up being a play that I actually wish I had back, simply because it would be nice to have that little bit of extra card draw in an aggro matchup. Assuming our opponent kills the 2/1 to try to protect their minion. They do play the Stealth. So this play caused them to miss a lot of face damage. But we still need to deal with their stuff. I think this is pretty straightforward. Just remove the 1/2, try not to take any damage here. And we should be able to give it Reborn if our opponent doesn't kill it. So I'm not super excited about this matchup, but I do think we're doing okay to begin with. And we actually hit a Frost Strike here. So I guess it's just Death Chiller Frost Strike. Soften this up a little bit so that it dies. Is there anything off of Frost Strike, like second Frost Strike, to be able to remove this? But having the minion on the board is perhaps a little bit valuable as well. Stegodon in this matchup, I mean, it's just kind of hard to imagine. This is active, so it would draw 2 cards. But I think it's still just these... Death Chillers. It's hard to imagine being able to spend 6 mana on a Bone Chill in an aggro matchup. Like, you're basically skipping a turn. and taking a bunch of damage in the process. So again, I'm not super excited about our chances of being able to win this matchup, but we're doing okay so far. They're going to trade for the board. We might be able to clear it out with like a Death Chiller Crypt map play. Paradox is going to be good for us here soon, as it will be active. We do hit another Frost Strike, though. I think this is going to be pretty good for us here. Hopefully it hits 1/1s and not face. And I think we want the Stuffy. So unfortunately we did hit face there. I think I do go ahead and just discover again, and not necessarily worry about trying to get the extra value. Another Death Chiller is probably not the correct play. I wish we would have hit a Frost spell here, but I'm going to take the Stuffy. We can play both of these in the same turn. It would be really, really good to be able to give them Reborn, though. Like with a Horn of Winter top deck. So our opponent hasn't made a whole lot of progress, but I feel like we're not necessarily making progress either in terms of being able to win the game. They're continuing to go wide on the board, and we're kind of running out of ways to be able to remove lots of minions. This is going to draw the Hot Coals, guaranteed. And that is not the top deck that I really wanted to see here. And with this drawing the Hot Coals, it's going to clear any board that we put together. No cross spells. Could try to look for something, but then we end up floating mana. I guess this is the best we can do. But it's just not looking great for us this game. And I'm just going to clear out minions on the board. I don't really know what we could even draw that would allow us to stay in the game. At this point, I think we're just losing. Apparently they also run Ball Hogs, which is interesting. They're playing like the pre-nerf list. But it just doesn't matter that their list is suboptimal. This is active. It's not super great, though. I guess discover a spell and an extra minion on the board can be good here.
I'm gonna win big.
Morbid Swarm. Although this won't be the turn for it. So we're going to clear this and we're going to heal a little bit. But it's not looking good. They can like hero power. They don't even have to hero power. They swing into something, play a Hot Coals, clears our board. We're just kind of in trouble. Second Ball Hog. Big Taunt doesn't do anything because they're going to be running like red cards and the Cane. And this was a really bad trade. If you're ever playing an aggro deck, don't take that trade. You send everything face. It's a really, really bad trade. And we kind of don't have a lot of options here. So we'll do this. And I'm going to remove this guy. Spin some corpses in this fashion. So again, I mean, we're able to hold our own a little bit, but we're just not going to be winning this game. 16 health. We know they have a Hot Coals in hand and then 2 mystery cards here. Yeah, they're going to Hot Coals and clear the board. Was hoping they got confused again and used minions to trade with our board, but that didn't happen. And we see the Cane come down, so Yeah, I think we're not winning. We'll see what we get in our location. I don't think there's anything that actually wins us the game here, though. It's definitely a 5. The Rushers... And I guess discover a spell. Actually, this may be good enough to win us the game. So we're doing this, this. We hit the ball hog last, otherwise it would kill one of our 2/1s. And we're actually kind of back in it. We're at 8 health. We have a big taunt that we're just going to play next turn. Possibly. It spends our mana. A Bone Chill hasn't died. Ooh. We actually died. That was close, though. It ended up being a lot closer than I thought. The location almost saved us. If nothing else, this game really showcases the power of the location. But we lost. We were expecting to lose. And that's just kind of the way it goes in Hearthstone sometimes. Another Hunter. We're going to toss all of this. Surely this will be the Aggro Hunter. Elise in the opening hand. That's perfect. Really, really good card for us. Stegodon. Question is, am I freezing face right off the bat? Spend mana, get the minion in play. So when you're trying to get better at Hearthstone, the best thing that you can do is to just try to make good Hearthstone plays. Bit unfortunate. And then figure out where you make mistakes as you go so that you don't make the same mistake again. So I think this was perfectly fine to freeze face. I was kind of expecting them to play the Misha here. I could just play the Stuffy. But I want to play Elise on 4 and the location on 5. So maybe I try to save the Stuffy. We can just go Crypt Map. They have the coin, so if they coin the RC Rampage, deal 6, my board dies. It's actually really bad if they have the RC Rampage with the coin here. Really bad. Alright, so let's discover. And I think we actually take the Sarian. The game is probably not going to a state where we actually need Umbra and Wakener of Souls to do like massive things. We just kind of need to not die. I am still going to be playing this. It's possible that we just never actually play the... Heron on 8 will be good. But we only have 2 Death Rattle minions left in the deck, so we need to not draw those for like the next several turns.
I remember this place well.
We're going to go for the 5-mana location. It's going to be our play next turn. And I think we want Rushers. Remove their board. And we're going to go with Discover a spell here. Summon a friendly copy can be really good with Stegodons and Wakener of Souls. If it looks like you're going to be in a longer game. But this is not going to be a longer game. We're really just in a fight for survival. To be able to try to live here. Against the Aggro Hunter. Beast Hunter, as some people might call it. And we have to be careful. We want to clear as much of the board as we possibly can. Because they could have Supreme Dinomancy next turn. And so we want to just clear it out. The fewer the bodies on the board, the better. Our opponent's actually clearing the board for us, though. So we don't mind that at all. We'll actually be able to clear this with just the Rushers. And discover spell. It's got to be the Sanguine Infestation. We're probably even doing that right now. And we'll be able to maintain a 2-1 rusher on the board. Although if we do that, it likely just dies to the jungle gym next turn. So maybe we do trade. If we draw Maladar, we can actually Heron next turn. But we don't want to draw these two guys, but I think this is still the play. Frost Strike and a Keychain. I guess we do go ahead and soften this up. So next turn I can actually go like Keychain, but then I would have Stuffy and a Frost Strike. So we'll be able to remove a lot, and then that gets us to turn 7. So again, if we can get to turn 8 without drawing Stegodon and Wakener of Souls, I think we're going to be in really, really good shape here. But it's still 2 turns away, and a lot can happen in these 2 turns. In the meantime, we're still just looking to clear as many minions as we can. Get 3 threes, they clear the board, we take a lot of damage face, so these are all bad. It's probably still just the Stuffy play. In which case we start with the Scarab Keychain. We're not ever playing this. Maybe just this to potentially remove something. Maybe just Corpsicle here. Again, we're just looking to remove stuff to be able to survive as long as possible. So again, next turn we need to not draw our Death Rattle minions. Maladar is the premium top deck, but we should be able to clear the board with the resources that we have. They have 7 damage on board. They could play City Chief, they could play Dinomancy. Would certainly make things a lot harder, but not necessarily impossible. So it feels like we're still in this. We're in it to win it, baby.
You are not part of their
Alright, there's the City Chief plate. This is a lot of stats on board is the problem when you think about trying to remove this stuff. And we pretty much have to remove just about all of it. So we're going to start by finding out what our spell is. And Wave of Tar is actually really good. It's an AoE, and it slows them down next turn. And it's free. So that's going to be what we take. So we're going to set up kills for the Wave of Tar. And then we can actually play the Death Chiller. We're going to Wave of Tar. And if we Corpsicle this, it dies. I'm going to go ahead and Keychain here. Take the Silk Stitching. We're going to Corpsicle. And then I'm going to go ahead and Corpse Stitching on the 2/3. And we're going to take the Suffocate. Just for some removal. So next turn, again, as long as we don't top deck one of these, we're maybe in okay shape. Certainly having the big taunt in the way, the Bone Chill Stegodon. We should be able to clear the board. That'll get us through turn 8. It may actually just be enough to win the game on the spot. If not, we might have to make it to turn 10 or draw Maladar. Top decking Wakener of Souls might actually be enough to just lose us the game. They should have a really weak turn here, though, because of the Wave of Tar. There's Alicia. Alright, so all of this dies. Do I need to heal for 4 is the other question here. Like immediately right now to go to 15? I could. How did they kill me from 11? I guess I do it because I'm just winning the game anyway.
My rule is eternal.
Feels like something silly could happen, and that would be what caused me to actually die. So this gives me at the highest possible health total. It sets up lethal on board. They would have to be able to kill this twice in order to go face. And if it dies, it's going to be summoning Bone Chill Stegodon. So I think we've won the game here. The only thing I could think of is if they were running like a... I don't know, something really weird. Maybe it was impossible to die, but I don't think we lose the game by playing the Terror decks there. Just get healthy, try to avoid the unknown, the silly things that might actually cost us the game. Really expecting a concede here. I don't think there's anything that our opponent can do. There's no way they have 15 over the top. And I don't think they can avoid lethal.
Time is short.
That will actually do it. Easy!